If you were to create a team consisting of only Kanto Pokemon, how strong could it be? Today, I will be presenting a full team of 6 Pokemon with all 4 gimmicks, held items, and a trainer to lead them to glory. Let's start off with the trainer. We could go for someone like Red, Blue, or one of the Elite 4 members, but in my opinion, there's a much better option. And the superior alternative is the main man Ash Ketchum. It was a very close decision between him and Red, but he gets the edge due to him conquering the Masters 8 tournament, and an additional reason I'll touch on later. With the trainer settled, it's time for the Pokemon. We have to start off with a bang, and what better way to do this than the mascot of Pokemon itself, Pikachu. Ash's Pikachu in specific. This is the only time I'll be using an existing Pokemon from a trainer, but he's so iconic it'd feel wrong not to include him. He has some incredible feats for just the Pikachu, such as Tobias's Latios, Tapu Koko, Steven's Mega Metagross, Leon's undefeated Charizard, and most importantly, Hop's Wooloo. Another advantage of Ash's Pikachu is that it has access to one of the strongest Z moves, being 10 million volt Thunderbolt. And luckily for us, the most busted part about this Z move is that it's technically not a held item, as all he does is wear the cap for a little bit. I know in-game it technically would be a held item, but hey, where's the fun in that? So this would allow us to buff up his Pikachu even more, and I think the best way I could do this is by giving it a Light Ball. For those who don't know, a Light Ball is an item specific to Pikachu that doubles its base attack and special attack stat. Imagine Ash's Pikachu doubling its attack output in an instant. This thing would become an absolute monster. As I'd like to stay faithful to Ash's Pikachu, I'm not going to change its move pool and ability, and besides, I think it's well-rounded enough already. Second up in this team is a legendary powerhouse, being Mewtwo. How could I not include the most infamous legendary Pokemon from the Kanto region? We won't be focusing as much on its base form, as this will be our main user of Mega Evolution, specifically its Mega Y. When it Mega Evolves, its special attack goes from 154 to an outrageous 194, which for context is the highest special attack stat of any Pokemon in existence. That combined with its 140 base speed will allow it to essentially outspeed and KO anything in our path. As for its moveset, I could be absolutely evil and put something like Calm Mind or Nasty Plot, but as we've discussed, I don't think this is necessary, so I think I'll go with Psychic for some super strong stab damage, Shadow Ball and Aura Sphere to cover its weaknesses, and finally Energy Ball is some generally nice coverage. The only slight problem I have with Mewtwo is its physical bulk, but hey, if it hits like a bus, I'm sure it'll be fine. As our first 2 Pokemon are quite frail, I think it's time to add some bulk to the team, and I think Lapras would be a great option for this. I think I'm going to make this Lapras more annoying too, running things like Life Dew and Protect, whilst holding leftovers to stall out as much as possible. I was also very tempted to add Perish Song to its moveset, but it's such a niche move I don't think it's worth it. Because of that, I'll finish up its moveset with Sparkling Aria and Freeze Strike, just to add some useful stab moves. I went with Freeze Strike over Ice Beam because it has the same chance to be frozen, as well as being super effective against water types. This is also technically a Gigantamax option, and could be useful in certain situations, but I'll use this more as a backup option. Speaking of Gigantamax, now let's move on to our main user of this gimmick, and that will be G-Max Charizard. I know there's a lot of options we could have chose from, however Charizard in my opinion is the best option due to its versatility. Of course it will mainly be our Gigantamax option, but if necessary it could always be our Mega Evolution too, depending on the opponent. Honestly, if we could just clone Leon's exact Charizard from the anime, I definitely would. It wasn't defeated until Ash battled it after all. Although I could just make a replica, so we'll use the same moveset Leon used in the Masters 8 tournament, as it's pretty decent already. I was thinking about using its hidden ability Solar Power, but G-Max Wildfire doesn't set up the sun, so I'm not sure how much it would benefit from it, so I'll probably just give it Blaze. Let me know which ability you would give Charizard though. And to quickly finish up, we'll give it a Life Orb just to add to its damage output even more, although this could change to either Mega Stone depending on the opponent. I've realised up to this point that all of the Pokemon are mainly special attackers, so let's change it up a bit. And I think Dragonite would be an incredible option for this role, especially when we compare it with Terastallization, and its Terra type would be normal. This might seem a bit strange for those who don't play competitive Pokemon, but let me explain. Dragonite knows Extreme Speed, which is an 80 base power normal type move. This might not seem too special, mainly because it's a physical move.
Shut up!
Because Extreme Speed is a priority move, if you pair this with a normal Terra type, Extreme Speed goes from 80 base power to 120, allowing it to outspeed all the time and get huge damage off. As for the rest of its moveset, I think something simple like Outrage and Aerial Ace for stab damage, as well as Ironhead for its coverage against Ice, Fairy and Rock types when it's not terrestrialized. That's not all. We can make our Dragonite even stronger by giving it the held item weakness policy. This is an item that sharply increases attack and special attack when hit by a move the Pokemon is weak to. If we pair this with its hidden ability Multi-Scale, it will turn into a bulky sweeper from your nightmares. Alright, so we've used up all our gimmicks and we're on to the final Pokemon of this ultimate team. And after looking at our Pokemon's types, I think Machamp would be a great last Pokemon for the team. It has a super varied move pool, and if you combine that with its brutal 130 base attack stat, it will definitely be packing a punch, that's for sure. If we look at our team's coverage map, we have nothing for Electric, Psychic, Dark, and Fairy types, so let's base our moveset around those. Typically half the types is going to be covering it's also weak to, but it's fine. We'll go for one move for each type we don't really have much for, so Close Combat for Dark types, Earthquake for Electric types, Knock Off for Psychic types, and finally Poison Jab for Fairy types. As for its ability and held item, I think I'm going to go with a combination of Guts and Flame Mob. So this Machamp goes from your average Joe to an absolute powerhouse. Similarly to Lapras, this is also a Gigantamax option, but we'll just stick to regular Machamp for the most part and keep that as a backup option. So the ultimate team ended up as Pikachu, Mewtwo, Lapras, Charizard, Dragonite, and Machamp, along with Ash as captain. If you enjoyed this team building video, it's also likely you'll enjoy the other team building videos I've made, especially this one where I gave Serena a full team in the Pokemon anime.